Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a man with far too much free time on his hands. This is not a test. This is a random review.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1310 of our daily content grind. It is time for another review. I think I'm going to do at least one review a week from now on, just so I can keep it as part of my regular routine. And today there is no toy I am more excited for than Megatronus, the Fallen, from Age of the Primes. Just got this bad boy in yesterday. Oh my god. Okay, I can't wait to show you about this. This is one of those bigger toys, so you need opinions on it, and I'm here to give them. And I'm very, very happy I get to do this because oh my god, you can tell I'm excited for this one. You can tell I'm excited. I'm excited enough to go ahead and like remove the instruction, the Hasbro approved weapon storage on the side because I think it looks incredibly silly, and we just leave you with this flaming tank, of a 13. So yeah, Megatronus here, very reminiscent of his original Dreamwave incarnation, the original design of the character. Didn't transform in the comics, but he was supposed to be a tank. The only real visual we had before now was the titanium figure. This one, I think it looks way, way better. He is more of a traditional tank, single barrel, giant turret, some added guns and missile pods in the back. Very, very nice. I will tell you, because this guy is using this pitch black plastic, I have played with the camera settings a little bit in order to try and get a better contrast between the black and the gunmetal grays going on to try and capture that dark purple, almost plum color that you see peeking through in a few areas. So if things look a little bit odd from time to time, or if the frame rate's low, I do apologize. I'm working with the best I have. I need to replace my review camera still. Point being, this guy is pitch black, and it is an incredibly menacing look for the tank. You can see those plum bits poking through a little bit here in the front, where you can see the burning yellow that's coming through. Love to see that. It's also across the top here. You can see the Megatronus symbol that is emblazoned on top of his cannon. A little bit more yellow poking through on the side, a little bit more down here. Toward the back, you've got that gunmetal paint going on to these claw-looking rear sections on the rear bumper, purple again. You see a little bit of a bridge there, too, to kind of like hold everything together here in the back. And then the gunmetal along the side, and even more for the blades. There's so many blades sculpted into this guy, right down to the barrel of the tank itself. Like, it has like bladed teeth along the edge. Like, everywhere they could fit some kind of blade, they have done so. Makes him look incredibly menacing. Really like the sculpt detail on him. Tank treads looking really nice. You can see the caster, little tiny little plastic wheels underneath, so you're not scraping up your counters when you're messing with them. There we go. My tread was a little bit out of place, bugging me. And then you can see a little bit more gunmetal here that's molded in, similar to this. So you have the little missile pod in the back. And this is on a 5mm post. So I can remove this and plug in anything else there that I wish. And speaking of, he is loaded with ports like that. So you can see another one here in the back for this little pod. This is on a ball joint and hinge. So I can pose it around, but I can't actually remove it. I can lower it to clear the path for this 5mm port. We can also take off the flames to reveal 2 more 5mm ports. There's also 2 down here as well. There's also 2 on each side. You have a lot of mounting points for added weaponry, which is really, really cool. You got a port in the front as well if you have any blast effects that you want to use out of his barrel. Yeah, that's a ton of playability going on with the tank mode. Now, the turret itself is a little bit blocky and odd because it literally is just his arms folded up in the way that they typically do a lot of these modern tank transformers. So if that part bugs you, well, that part's going to continue to bug you because he does it as well. What I can say about the tank is that the turret does rotate all the way around, which is cool to see. And because the barrel itself is attached to the 2 shoulder points here, I can actually raise the turret on the shoulder hinges like so, or I can just raise the barrel on the pegs. So if I want a little anti-air, I can do that as well. That does lead me to like one minor gripe, which is I wish there was some connection point here that would actually lock this in place. And it even looks like there's some sculpted detail on the side. I don't know if you can see that little pit right there. This seems like a socket, like where like a fit would actually attach to hold this in place, but there's nothing on the arms that actually indicates that that's possible. So it's a little bit weird, but it is firm enough. It's just if the pegs start wearing out and the connection back here gets a little bit looser, I would really like to have that like backup point, but no, well, it's fine for now. It's fine for now. Also, when I rotate the turret, you can start to see just like how much hollow space there is inside the tank. It looks solid as you're messing with it, but if you start to like really poke through, you see where like there's a bunch of gaps going through here. It is a Cybertronian tank. It is one of the original 13. I'm not expecting him to be realistic in any way, shape, or form. So this, I believe, is okay. I will give it that. But yeah, beautiful tank mode. Really, really solid. Heavy, too. Like, this one feels nice and solid. I am going to attempt to transform him now. I've only done this a couple times. If it's a little bit rough, I do apologize. I'm going to try to maintain the correct order of operations. I have already split him open so I can remove the cannon for now. This is all double hinged, and this is going to be floating for a bit because we got to do a lot to all of this first. Let's take care of the legs. I'm going to lift these panels up. There's a purple piece underneath that you're now going to flip and close. Once that is done, unclip the legs from the sides here, bring them all the way down, snap them back in. It's a nice hefty snap you're going to feel. Raise up the legs so you can flip the feet out like so. Do the same thing over here. Tread down, foot up, tread back down with the feet in the correct spots. 180-degree flip to get those panels into place. Bring that down. These two little pieces that are tucked in up here have to come down to form his hip skirts. Go ahead and rotate the legs below the knee and rotate the waist 180 degrees. And that is the lower section transform. Now, we go to the top side transformation. I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to move them to the side. Unfold these shells like so. Give them a 180-degree flip. And then just collapse them back down. We're going to have to work with this a little bit more here in a bit. And keep all of this out of the way because we got to rotate this down. Flip all this part out, and once you get to this point, rotate that around. You can also go ahead and rotate the Fallen's head right there in the middle. This is where things get fun in this transformation. So, going to rotate the treads here to the back, and we're going to fold these downward, and they're going to form the bulk of the body. You got to do it in this order. This is one of those weird transformations where you have to follow an order of operations, or else you're going to run into a lot of trouble getting those treads in and out. So you just got to make sure that this center spine piece is all the way hinged forward in order to get enough space to actually connect those. But with that done, you can snap this piece back in, make sure it locks into place like so. And then we deal with the arms. So I'm going to rotate these, fully extend these out, and then work with the double hinges to get this into position. Wait for it to snap. Everything here should be flush in the front. Move all that in. Should chunk in very well here in the sides of the chest. Rotating the arms all the way around. This is where you can start doing things in whatever order you want. But I'm one of those traditionalists, like, do the head last. Fold out the hands like that. Snap the forearm back closed. We'll do the same thing on this side. Just like that. Now, go up to the chest. Fold these panels down like that. Fold the whole thing down. Go up here. Look at the top. Look at that gap. Make sure you close up that gap as tight as possible, because that's where the tabs to hold everything together are. And that is going to do it for your Fallen. And let me Let me readjust the camera now. All right, camera reframed, drop the lights down a little bit so he really comes across a lot more striking. Now we have Megatronus, the Fallen, in his robot mode. Transformation is actually really, really nice on this guy. H-tanks, admittedly, tend to be a little bit easy and simple. And when I notice that, like, he has a lot of similar transformation elements to, say, Siege Megatron, a mold that I am entirely bored of, I started growing just a little bit concerned about how much I would actually enjoy this particular toy, because I didn't want it to feel too similar. Luckily, I would call it a perfected version of that transformation. Yeah, the arms are still forming the turret, the cannon still ends up between the arms and turret, the legs still have that same like side hip transformation element, but everything feels cleaner, everything feels more solid, there's a lot more intricate steps. The chest transformation to get rid of most of the treads is perfect. Like, it just comes across so much better. And you can see, like, as opposed to that Megatron who wears half a tank on his back, Megatronus is very, very clean. He does have a big heavy backpack, but he kind of wears it well. Like, it kind of suits him. And that's also going to lend itself to the character the way you know him once we get him a little bit more decorated. But for now, yeah, it's a really cool transformation. Like, my fears were not founded. So yeah, looking at him, he is a very robust figure in robot mode, very sizable, very solid feeling. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. There's your 86 Optimus. So you'll know that he is like very large Voyager. This is a very dense toy himself, but you know, that's the best comparison I could come up to right now. So just for those who don't like those smaller leaders, it's like he's not as tall as, say, like an 86 Dinobot, but what he lacks in that height, he makes up for in density and complexity. He is really, really solid for his price point. I'm very, very happy with him at that. Yeah, in this mode, you can see more of that plum purple color coming through. It's on the knees, it's the pelvis, it's the chest now, a little bit popping on the shoulders. The hands are in that purple color, more on his head and crest. Yeah, so, and it's doing just enough. I was never a fan of seeing the purple on the Fallen when I saw him in third-party toys, but this is dark enough that it's breaking up the black just enough without really removing his super dark visuals. That's really, really helping it for me. Also, you got the gunmetal ending up in the thighs. That helps too. Like, he's just like darker than dark kind of character, which is what's making all of that bright yellow pop so hard. You know, it's getting that burning aspect to him across, even though like the paint applications to make it look like a proper like cast iron stove inside him at all times, like he did in the the Dreamwave book, that's a little bit hard to do in paint. Might get the toy hacks for this, not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm loving this. Let me zoom in the head. Yeah, look at that. I feel like we've waited so long to get Fallen done properly. Like, the original design was so striking and intimidating, and the only thing we ever had was that titanium, and that really didn't suit it. This is such a good take on the design. Now, like most of the 13 in Age of the Primes, he is not a one-to-one replica of that particular design. He is pulling elements from other aspects and other designs of the Fallen over the years, and in his case, Megatronus as well. And I'm not up on my Megatronus designs enough to tell you every single one of them, but if you're spotting differences from how you remember him from Dreamwave, that would be the reason why. Now, you've heard me go on long enough about how much I like the look, and obviously the sculpting is really good. I think I'm just going to go right into the articulation now, so we can save a lot of time for accessories, because oh boy, does he have a bunch. So, ball-jointed head, has up and down, full left and right. Shoulders, full up and down, universal motion in the shoulders. You also have a little bit of a butterfly. You can extend it out, So you can get like full, like proper butterfly joints and do crazy articulation spots. So it's not intentional. It's part of the transformation engineering, but it does work for butterfly articulation. So I'll take it. You have 360 degrees on the on the bicep, a little bit beyond the 90 on the elbow, rotating ball jointed wrists as well as hands that open up. Love to see that at the leader class price point. Full rotation at the waist. Nice to see. Universal hips. These little side pieces are hinged, so you can get those out of the way. Plenty of range there. Thigh rotation. Gets a little bit hindered by how the legs are engineered for transformation, but you can still get a great range of motion out of them. And then if you need added rotation, below the knee also rotates. You have a full bend right there, and you have the ankle, which does tilt. Great to see. And you get a little bit of forward and back as well. So that's a fantastic level of articulation on top of what's already a really impressive and imposing toy. You'll also notice throughout this review, there's not a lot of hollowness showing through on him. Like, the worst offender is the feet, and that's because of how the transformation goes. That's where the tank treads have to go during transformation. But you see, like, the only thing hollowed in the arms is, like, the elbow connection, which you can barely see. You know, you can see the mushroom peg, but it's completely full. Same as the engineering here. That's got to be open for the transformation. Like, that's literally it. Everything else on him is dead solid. So, very hefty figure for the size. All right. Now, accessory-wise, he does come pretty well loaded. We got a lot we can do with him. For starters, we need to make him look proper, which means I'm going to rotate this so we can make room for these flame effects. Now, they are the kind of soft plastic that I kind of warned people about, because there have been incidents where connecting these soft pieces for too long does cause damage to ABS. So my opinion would be, don't keep these on for too long. Also, word of warning for anyone buying this on the aftermarket like a year or two after release, these orange parts are actually like packed in with his accessory burrito with his weaponry. So let's see how that works out. Let's see, can I get away with do I have, yeah, see, I kind of have the room to leave the missile pod forward. But look at that. Now it looks more like the Fallen. Like, the Fallen is not the Fallen if he's not on fire. And I love that they kept the millimeter ports up here open so that you can add those flames to him. Third-party companies, make me ones that aren't in this, you know, potentially dangerous and like damaging soft plastic, and make me larger flames. Also, he has more 5mm ports available, 2 on each forearm. I believe we should have some elsewhere. Yeah, there's more in the back too. The toy actually gives you ports all over the back. The back of the shoulders have ports. Back side has ports as well, and that's all just for holding on to accessories. So he can store all of his weapons in robot mode, which is actually a pretty rare thing and kind of cool to have. Okay, let's see some of those weapons. For starters, we do have this spear weapon, which is an element that's more akin to the Revenge of the Fallen design. We also have the sword, and now these can be put into his hand independently. If you actually want to give him a little bit more traditional, like, melee armament. Snaps in like so. And it does snap in, by the way. It's not just the fingers and the friction holding it in place. It's a firm connection. However, we can also combine the two and give him a full staff weapon, and now he really kind of resembles movie Fallen, which is kind of a cool way to do things. The tip of the spear, by the way, very soft plastic. So again, soft plastic warning, but also bending warning, because like even out of the bag, mine is a little bit bent and a little bit crooked. That would take a hairdryer to fix. So we have that, and then we have this. So I'm going to take the barrel of it off, double hinge this to solidify it, and I'm going to go ahead and take the melee weapon out of this hand, because this should mount to his right arm. I'm going to flip that peg down to create a peg facing downward, and that's going to form onto his arm to create the Requiem blaster from the modern 13 Mythos. Now, again, and that is more on the lines of like your Machinima trilogy, Megatronus, who had the forearm cannon. He had the in his Requiem blaster. This is cool. Like this actually kind of cements him as like a pre-Megatron, right? Now you see where Megatron gets the idea. Now, I'm going to point one thing out. The barrel does come off into this particular accessory. This accessory does have an iron sight on it and a hinge on its peg, which means I can actually place it right here. And between that and the arm cannon, the transformation, people are already suspecting that this is going to be a pre-tool for our 86 Megatron. I'm going to point out right now, there's literally no sculpting on this toy that invokes a movie-accurate Megatron. I feel like this might be for a different Megatron down the line. I would probably pencil this in for, say, maybe an Autobot Megatron from IDW before I would pencil it down for an 86 Megatron. There's just way too much to change. The body shape isn't correct. It's... the accuracy isn't there. Like, you'd have to change literally every part, so you might as well make it a completely different toy. And I feel like that's what Takara is going to do. So like I said, I feel like this is in service to, like, potentially being a different iteration of Megatron down the line, which I wouldn't mind. For now, it's kind of just an extra handgun accessory, if you want to use it for that. Or you can just, leave it onto the barrel and just have, like, a bigger cannon. So yeah, accessory loaded, articulation loaded. This is a mighty fine leader class figure, and kind of a somewhat solution to how small leader class toys have felt lately. Like, he isn't as, like I said, he's not as big as like an 86 Dinobot, so he's gonna be a little bit odd looking at first. But he is an incredibly solid figure, very fun to mess with, good transformation, clean robot, high articulation, high accessory count. What can I say? Like, for a toy we've been waiting for so long, they absolutely nailed it. This is like exactly what I wanted out of a Fallen toy, and it's great to finally get my hands on it. So, there you go. The long-awaited Dreamwave-inspired Fallen, with some touches of some modern Fallens in there, too. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of the toy in the comments below, and as always, I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.